Jim, welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Welcome to speaking in front of the club. I think this was a bit of a challenge for you. You kind of admitted it while you were speaking that this was a challenge for you. And it was interesting because I could see as you spoke that the challenge you were talking about in the speech was still a challenge for you in delivering your speech. So I thought you showed a tremendous amount of courage up here. I love the fact that you're being so transparent with what it is you're offering us and using some personal stories, and yet you're still keeping it concise with four very strong points. There's a lot of things you can do with this speech. I want to let the rest of them kind of focus in on some different positives or potential improvements before I come back and try to help you with that. And we might want to talk, as you might want to talk with any of us, offline on this to get more of a broad look at what you can do with this going forward.
Thanks, Rich. Jim, I really liked how you had your energy level. It was good. I could tell that you were nervous, but you controlled that very well. And you didn't really stop. You know, that was the thing, you kept going. And my only thing was on those 4 questions that you had, I felt like I had to reach really far to make them to relate to me. So there may be a different way you can phrase them. You know, there are the famous questions, is it true, is it kind, is it necessary? We can all relate to that instantaneously. These questions we have to work harder to relate to. So I would look at a way to phrase them, or look at a way that we can relate.
I had a similar challenge with relatability. I kind of felt like I was dumped into the 4 questions without real sliding. There was a wall there somewhere, and I didn't know exactly where all of a sudden these 4 questions were going. So try to be a little bit more clear about
I like the questions. I would just ask you to get to them a little bit quicker. I found myself wondering, when are they going to come? When are they going to come? The setup, as I reviewed it, was necessary. I appreciated everything you said getting to the questions, but I really wanted to get to the questions sooner.
I liked this.
Yes.
That was a gesture you don't see. It created uniqueness. I would use that from the very beginning. You stand up there in the beginning. You don't have to say a thing. It will get the audience's attention, and then use that throughout. I think that that's a very strong theme that can be used that's unique to what you're doing.
I don't have much to say, but one of the things that I noticed was a lot of pacing and movement that I found to be, yeah, okay. It was disturbing to me. I couldn't tell where you were going or what you were doing, and it wasn't movement with a purpose.
Right.
One of the things.
In one part, you just left me hanging a little bit. You're bringing in the idea of explicit goals and then the unstated goals. I very much got a good sense, I think, of the explicit goals with everything you were going through, but I really wanted an example or two of those unstated goals that were there as well.
First of all, I wanted to applaud you for getting your story going immediately. It was Tuesday. You got us right into the story, and without any messing around. Very, very nice. I would like to also comment on the IU balance. I don't know if you remember Orville Ray going into that at the, did you go with that? Oh, okay. Well, I talked to Mark a little bit about that, but there are ways of telling a story without saying I. And Orville, if you get Tom's copy of the video that he shot, Orville Ray goes through that very nicely and gives an example of how to tell a story without saying I at all. And you could use that also.
I got some good nuggets from around the table. From what I gathered, those 4 points kind of came out of what you learned when they diagnosed you with ADD and when you started going through your rehabilitation, essentially. So it sounds like you do need to make that more clear as to when they became important to you and how they should be important to us as a big part of kind of a synopsis of what everybody's saying. We need to find a way to take those from what's you to what's us. What I would do with this speech is get that video and get it transcribed and get it on paper. Do you have the speech written out?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. I would compare the transcription to what you have written out and then figure out what's the balance between how you wanted this to be and how it came out. How are you going to be able to make those things work together? Because I think when you get up here, you have a little bit of that ADD as you speak, where you aren't quite focusing and staying within your own parentheses from point to point and story to story. There are some other things you are going to want to look into and that are going to take your speech out to us more, make it less of you and more of us and more of solving something for us. But I think right now, at the beginning of this process for you, you are pretty far along for most people coming up and giving their first speech that they're trying to turn into something bigger. So, big kudos to you.
Good job.